Hey friends, today I've got a story for you that's equal parts fun, surprising, and a little heartwarming. It's about two unlikely roommates, one a laid-back artist, the other a confident, all-star athlete, who decide to kill a quiet night with a classic game of truth or dare. What starts as harmless fun takes a turn neither of them expects, leading to a moment of honesty that changes everything. If you've ever wondered how a random game could reveal the most unexpected sides of someone, this one's for you. Let's title the story Truth or Dare with My Hot Roommate. When I first met Max, my freshman roommate, I wasn't sure what to think. He was the kind of guy you'd see on the cover of a fitness magazine, tall, athletic, and exuding that effortless confidence that comes from being the star of the baseball team. Max had an easygoing charm that made him popular with everyone. And though we came from completely different worlds, we hit it off right away. While I was more into quiet evenings, sketching, and reading, Max lived for the gym, team practices, and weekend parties. Despite our differences, we formed an unlikely friendship. He was surprisingly thoughtful, always making sure to include me in his plans and respecting my space. It didn't hurt that he had an infectious sense of humor and a way of making even the dullest day feel exciting. Max didn't seem fazed when I casually came out to him during one of our first conversations. "Cool," he said, flashing his signature grin. "Thanks for telling me, man." That was it. No awkwardness, no weirdness, just acceptance. As the semester went on, Max's playful personality began to shine in our shared room. He had this habit of walking around shirtless after his workouts, his tan skin still glistening from the gym. Sometimes, he'd flop down on his bed and flex his arms dramatically, asking if I thought he was getting bigger. I'd laugh and roll my eyes, but the truth was, Max had a magnetic energy that was hard to ignore. One night, a few weeks before finals, Max and I were hanging out in our dorm. The air outside was crisp, and we had decided to skip the usual Friday party scene. Instead, we grabbed some snacks, cracked open a couple of sodas, and decided to play truth or dare to pass the time. At first, the dares were harmless, doing push-ups in the hallway, eating a handful of spicy chips without water. The truths were equally tame, mostly questions about embarrassing childhood stories or high school crushes. But as the game went on, the questions started to get more personal. Truth or dare? Max asked, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Truth," I replied, leaning back against my pillow. He smirked. "Okay, have you ever had a crush on someone you shouldn't?" I hesitated, feeling my cheeks warm. "Yeah," I admitted, avoiding his gaze. "Interesting," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Was it someone here on campus?" "Your turn," I said quickly, dodging the follow-up. Max laughed, sensing my discomfort but letting it slide. "Fine, dare." I grinned, suddenly feeling bold. "I dare you to show me your best dance moves." He groaned but stood up, pulling out his phone to play a song. To my surprise, Max actually had rhythm. He spun around the room, throwing in exaggerated hip thrusts and awkward arm movements that left us both doubled over in laughter. The game continued, each round pushing the boundaries a little further. When it was Max's turn for truth again, I decided to ask a question I'd been curious about for a while. "Have you ever thought about kissing a guy?" I asked, trying to sound casual. Max paused, the playful smirk fading into something more thoughtful. "Huh," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. I mean, yeah, I guess. Just to see what it's like. Is that weird? I shook my head, trying to hide my surprise. Not weird at all. He nodded, his expression unreadable. Your turn, he said, his tone lighter now. Truth or dare? Dare, I said, trying to match his confidence. I dare you to wear my baseball jersey and strike a pose, he said, tossing the shirt from his chair to my lap. I rolled my eyes but slipped the jersey on. It was way too big, practically swallowing me whole. Max burst out laughing as I tried to mimic one of his team's victory poses, complete with an exaggerated fist pump. Not bad, he said, grinning. You might make the team after all. As the night wore on, the dares grew sillier, but the truth started to feel more revealing. There was an unspoken shift in the air, a mix of curiosity and vulnerability that neither of us acknowledged but both felt. Truth or dare? I asked Max during one of the quieter moments. Truth, he said, stretching out on his bed. What's one thing you've always wanted to try but never had the guts to? I asked. Max stared at the ceiling for a moment before answering. I think I've always wanted to see what it'd be like to just let go, to stop worrying about what people expect from me and just do what feels right, you know? His honesty caught me off guard. For someone who always seemed so self-assured, it was rare to see Max open up like this. I get that, I said softly. It's not always easy. He glanced at me, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Truth or dare? Truth, I said, feeling the weight of the moment. Have you ever thought about me differently? He asked, his voice low but steady. My heart skipped a beat. I considered lying, but something about the way he was looking at me made me want to be honest. Yeah, I admitted. I have. Max didn't say anything for a moment, just nodded thoughtfully. Then he sat up, his expression serious but kind. Me too, he said quietly. I don't know what that means, but I'm not against figuring it out. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the radiator. I didn't know what to say, but Max didn't seem to expect an answer. He leaned back against his bed, his usual smirk returning. Anyway, I think we both need a snack break, he said, grabbing a bag of chips from his desk. We didn't talk much more about it that night, but something had shifted between us. There was an understanding now, an openness that hadn't been there before. Max didn't seem uncomfortable, and neither did I. Over the next few weeks, things between us stayed light and easy, but every now and then, there'd be a moment, a lingering glance, a casual touch that hinted at the conversation we'd had. Neither of us rushed to define it, content to let things unfold naturally. Looking back, that night of truth or dare wasn't just a game. It was the start of something neither of us had expected, a deeper connection built on trust, laughter, and the courage to be honest with ourselves and each other.